Hey guys, I have finished my macrame project, my Macraweave project, and I am ready to share it with you, and I wanted to go through everything I did to make it. I'm very happy with it. It's not traditional macrame by any stretch. It's my take on it. It's completely something that came out of my brain, and I did it as I went. I even had a dream at one point about what to do with it and woke up and actually did what was in my dream, and I love it. I'm so happy to share it with you, so here it is. Put it on this branch. I really liked this branch. It's knobby. And I really love knots in wood. I used a very natural color of macrame cord. At the top, I used my lark's head knots to cast on. Then I did a row of double half hitch knots all the way across, followed by a row of rose knots. I really like these because personally I feel like they add a lot of dimension, femininity, texture. This is all about texture, but I really like those. So that was next. Then this is all square knots. And what I like about square knots, besides the fact that it can make it look very neat, is that it creates these little diamonds. And I really like that. At this point, it had looked pretty controlled, and I decided that I didn't want that anymore. And I wanted it to go off the rails, and it did. Next, I decided to do a double half hitch and a big curve. And another one here to create another shape, and another one here. So those were my first negative spaces. What I liked about my design in my head and what I like about it now is that I value the negative space as much as the space that I take up. So for instance, in this section here, which leaves these strands when you leave negative space, I could do things with it or not. I decided to weave, so this is where the Macraweave comes in, and I use this. This is not wool, this is, I believe, an acrylic, but it's very similar to a wool roving, and I really liked the cloud-like texture of that. So I used that and weaved that on through. I showed in one of my other videos how I did weaving. It's the same process regardless of the size of the yarn. And then this is the macrame cord, which I wove in, and it does this nice braided texture all the way around. And then I decided to leave this negative space here. I really liked that vertical. I didn't have that vertical line anywhere but up here, and I kind of wanted to mirror that. The next thing was this space here, and I decided to do kind of like a more traditional weaving of a very thin yarn. And then I went back after I did my double half hitch all the way across. I went back into some square knots, but I decided I wanted to have a little bit of a departure. So this section is 4 strands each with a square knot, the outer 2 strands of the square knot being black, this black yarn, and I did square knots around 4 strings all the way down. And I really wanted to leave this negative space here too. All right, so then we drop down to this section. So I kind of have what I consider 3 sections, 3 distinct sections. So this section here is where I really wanted to use curves. This section is I just wanted to do a lot of different techniques within it and experiment with negative space. So I did the lines here through use of negative space. And then within this square knot section, I decided to do a semicircle and leave negative space there as well. Then over here, I did all these alternating square knot twists. And I really like how that turned out because I wanted something to balance this side and this side. So I think that worked pretty well. The next section is the one I dreamt about. I got to this point in the project that I just spoke about, to this line here, and I didn't know what to do next. So I went to bed. I was really thinking about it a lot, and I dreamt of a section with lots of squares, like a quilt. So I decided to do that, and this is what I came up with. So I did my square knots. This I did weaving again, but instead of going over one strand, I went over two, and I alternated the pattern between them. And then on the outside, I did a loop section. It's just a simple weaving around. On both sides I did it. This side is the opposite loops of the other side. And then in here, I did another section that could leave open space, but instead of leaving it blank like right there, I used a lot of that very thick woven, one line of the macrame cord, and also the very thin black. And I followed this all the way around for that shape. Gives a lot of texture. And then with ending, instead of just having regular string or fringe, I decided not to have like a fraying in this at all. I wanted it to be a little bit more modern. So I left these this way, and if it naturally frays over time, that's fine, but I'm gonna do it like that. And I wrapped the square knots, but only to this point. I wanted to kind of mirror again some of the difference that we have over there. I wanted to do that down here. So this is what I came up with. I feel I'm really happy with it. It took me a whole week to do it. I actually spent a lot of hours on it. Since we had snow days, I was able to spend quite a bit of time doing this. This is the most ambitious project I've done. And let's just say that I plan to do a lot more of these in the future. I think that I have discovered something that I truly love. And I really hope that you enjoyed coming along on this journey with me. Thanks so much for watching this today. And you got a little bit inside my brain because this was somewhere up deep inside there, and somehow I got it out through macrame cord and yarn. Have a good night. Bye.